Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Frank Omalape. In a major story, Gombe declares 24 hours curfew on state after the Nigerian military repelled Boko Haram attack in state capital. Also in this program, former President Obasanjo accuses President Jonathan of hidden agenda in the postponement of the 2015 general elections, compares him to Ivorian Laurent Gbagbo. And in the spirit of Valentine, the Lagos State First Lady has called for more care for senior citizens in the country. Outside Nigeria, more attacks in Ukraine as ceasefire deal draws closer. Thank you for joining us tonight. The Nigerian military has, in fierce battle, repelled attack by Boko Haram insurgents on its military base in Gombe after the terrorists, in a renewed offensive to capture the Gombe state capital. Reports say the insurgents launched an early morning attack on Hina and Dadinkowari, Yamatundeba local government area of the state, but were repelled by the military. They subsequently attacked nearby Zambuk, but were again repelled. Latest report from Gombe indicated that troops had successfully repelled the invaders from the town. As soldiers searched, the insurgents gained entry into the barracks through a bush path around 5:30 a.m. They were said to have set ablaze the quarter guard before the federal troops overpowered them with the attendants' casualties on the side of the rebels and flushed them out by 12 noon. In a related event, the Gombe state government has declared a 24-hour curfew on the state capital and surrounding areas after a failed attempt by the deadly Boko Haram sect to capture Gombe metropolis. The military engaged the sect in a fierce battle that lasted over 3 hours before the capital could be secured. The imposition of the curfew was contained in a statement issued by the Secretary to the state government, Abubakar Sulebagi. Away from that now, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has accused President Jonathan of nursing a state agenda and the postponement of the 2015 general elections. Obasanjo made his assertion while addressing journalists in Abeokuta, Ogun State, also compared President Jonathan's agenda to former Ivorian leader Laurent Gbagbo, currently on trial for war crimes, saying the president has a plan to scuttle the electoral process and cause chaos in the country, as was done by the former Ivorian leader.
What again will look to me is that the president is trying to play Gbagbo. Gbagbo was the former president of Cote d'Ivoire. And Gbagbo made sure he postponed the election in his country until he was sure he will win. All reasonable persuasion and pleading was rebuffed by him, and he unleashed horror in that country until Nemesis caught up with him. I believe that we may be seeing a repeat of Gbagbo, or what I call Gbagbo saga, here in Nigeria. I hope not.
The former president also described the postponement as a decision forced on INEC chairman, saying it was a sad day for Nigerian democracy.
It was a forced decision on the INEC because it was alleged that the security chiefs were unable to provide security. And as a result, the chairman of INEC had to postpone in accordance with the dictate of the so-called security chiefs.
And now, in reactions to the accusation of ex-President Obasanjo, the presidency has declared as unwarranted, odious and self-serving the attack on President Jonathan. It declares ex-President Obasanjo's accusation as false claims and allegations to destabilize the country. The pro-democracy activists under the auspices of Nigeria United for Democracy have held a protest march in Abuja to demand the sanctity of the new election dates of March 28 and April 11. They were joined by members of the National Consensus Movement in marching through the city center with placards. Elsewhere in the Nigerian capital, supporters of the All Progressive Congress move around the city in the motorcade for what they thank March for Buhari. Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba has assured members of the public that the police are not under any instruction to shoot or kill during the forthcoming elections. He also advised officers and men of the police force not to use arms during the elections unless it's extreme circumstances. Abba said this against the backdrop of claims that senior police officers are under instruction to kill as many people as possible if any of their men was killed. Police spokesman Emmanuel Ejukwu said in a statement that the IGP issued a warning after meeting with a cross-section of top police officers. IG Abba was quoted to have told his men that their operations during the elections are expected to be guided by the rule of law. As Nigerians continue to grapple with the reality of postponement of the general elections, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says the election is beyond religious, ethnic or political party affiliation, but an opportunity to rescue the nation from the hands of the corrupt leadership. Fashola made his statement at the government house in Marina, where he met with the leadership of the National Association Nigerian Students (NANS) from the southwestern region of the country. Our correspondent Abiola Luwole has details in this report presented from our studios.
General elections, as announced by the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega, have kept politicians on their toes, strategizing and networking with relevant groups across the country as they canvass for support for their political parties. Governor Fashola's meeting with the leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Students from the southwestern region served as a platform to canvass votes for the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari at common pools. Fashola, who painted a picture of what he calls the failure of the federal government to tackle numerous challenges facing the nation, encouraged the students' union leadership to vote for change.
Let me say to you what this is not about. This is not about tribe. It's not. Anybody who tells you that is deceiving you. It's also not about religion. And it's also not about North and South, or East and West, or Christians and Muslims. It's about Nigeria. Understand that very clearly. It's about liberties and it's about choices.
In their reactions, some student union leaders who spoke at the event say the postponement of the elections will serve as an opportunity for them to sensitize Nigerians on the need to vote APC in the coming elections.
That General Buhari is far, far better than the president. And I know that the APC is a party of leaders that said something today and they stand by it. They don't just promise and promise and promise.
They can change the date, they can postpone the election, but the change must come. The power of the people at the top obviously is overpowering the power of we here. But we are standing here to say that come March, that the power of the people will be more than the people in power.
As political gladiators strategize to gain upper hands over their opponents, all what Nigerians are seeking, according to political analysts, is good governance.
You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. After the break, Edo State Governor Adansel Shomale offers automatic employment to victims of immigration victims. Find out more after this time out. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
If you're just joining us, this is CoreTV Primetime News. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories tonight. Gombe declares 24-hour curfew on state after the Nigerian military repelled Boko Haram attack in state capital. Former President Obasanjo accuses President Jonathan of hidden agenda in the postponement of the 2015 general elections, comparing to Ivorian Laurent Gbagbo. And in the spirit of Valentine, the Lagos State First Lady has called for more care for senior citizens in the country. You can also reach us on our social media platforms, like our Facebook page is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can as well follow us at CoreTV News NG. For live streamings, log on to www.youtube.com/CoreTV News. Ahead of preparation for the 2015 general elections, the Ekiti State Police Command, in its bid to ensure smooth electoral process, has brought together the major political players to sign peace deal to ensure acceptable conduct of politicians and their supporters before, during and after the election. This is coming as the police chief in Ekiti ban all private security guards in any form or guise for politicians, even as some political parties raise concern over the peace accord being signed. Our correspondent Rashid has more from Ado Ekiti.
Taking a cue from other police formations across the country, the Ekiti State Police Command also brought politicians to a roundtable in signing a peace pact for peaceful poll conduct. The command admonishes as the Commissioner of Police reads Riot Act to politicians, with the Resident Electoral Commissioner commending the initiative of the police.
We are able to put our men, our supporters, our well-wishers in check.
In this wise, no political party or candidate has any reason to go about armed thugs in the name of bodyguards or private security.
It is an important occasion where the police is trying to appeal to all of us to eschew violence.
Concerns are, however, raised on the sustenance of the peace accord as the All Progressives Congress relives its alleged experience in the hands of the PDP recently.
There are a lot of things going on in the state, and sitting to sign peace pact is good, but it's not practical in the real sense of it. What happened where we cannot have even freedom of association? What
being pursued around with guns. What happens? Where people are abducted and their whereabouts is yet to be known. And I've just painted a very noxious and serious situation that we experienced in the last 24 hours.
Responding to the allegation and others raised, the leader of the PDP and Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fauci says all matters will be looked into as he assures the people of the desired peace.
One of the political parties, don't let me mention any political party. You understand? We all know ourselves. Even if you are doing something like this, you will say Mr. Big minutes. Nobody wants to anyone. And I will not ask for favor from police, and I'm telling you most especially. But the best is that there shouldn't have been anybody fighting anyone. You understand? So even in law, they say resting this case on your evidence. I'm resting everything on your submission. I will go and work on it.
The peace accord was afterwards signed by all parties with the hope that the events to be recorded in coming weeks will not defeat the essence of the peace pact. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Displeased by the soaring increase of political violence in the state, the Kwara State Police Command has announced its readiness to curtail the perpetrators of violence. Speaking with political stakeholders at a peace pact meeting in Ilorin, the police chief assures politicians of non-partisanship but asks the players to play according to the rule of the game. Here again is Rashid reports.
The recent attack on the convoy of the Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed has brought a new twist to political violence in the hitherto peaceful state. And in a bid in stemming this trend, the Kwara Police Chief Salihu Garba brings all political players in signing a peace agreement ahead of the 2015 general elections.
Reveals a great increase in the rate of political torture and hooliganism in the ongoing electioneering period in the state, resulting into various forms of attacks from political opponents. The State Police Command hereby registers its position on zero tolerance to all forms of political torture and hooliganism in any form, and categorically directs that such acts of criminalities shall not be tolerated in the state before, during, and after the electionary period.
The buck now passed to political parties and politicians who one after the other promised to be of peaceful behavior before, during and after the election.
All our team and our supporters that everybody should maintain peace, no matter the provocation. They should maintain peace during and after the election. And I promise that inshallah, APC in Kwara State will maintain peace.
On behalf of PDP in the state, we preach peace, we want peace, we want all our followers, well-wishers who believe in the freedom for the state to continue to maintain peace, and all our candidates, they will maintain peace throughout the election and after the election.
Having signed the peace deal, the Kwara Police Commissioner admonished all to abide by the agreement or face wrath of the law.
All political gladiators, including candidates seeking political office in the state, who are here present today, are expected to declare before the press and the people of Kwara State their zero tolerance to any form of torture and hooliganism, and that they will bring this to bear on their followers across the state.
However, in weeks to come, this peace pact will be put to the litmus test by the activities of political parties. But till then, Nigerians are keenly awaiting the observance or otherwise of the peace agreement. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
The Edo State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mike Igini, has once again engaged representatives of the various political parties ahead of the 2015 elections as he gives update of the Commission's activities in the state. Igini, while speaking at this section, he disclosed the total number of registered voters in the state as 1.7 million, with less than 1.2 million picked up so far. A correspondent filing this report as presented from our studios. That report as the news proceeds. The Edo State Governor, Adams Oshiomhole, has offered automatic employment to 20 victims of the last immigration recruitment strategy of March 15, 2014, and granted a sum of 2 million naira to the widower and the children of the late Sandra Alamo, who died in the commotion. This is coming almost a year after the federal government promised automatic employment to those injured in the exercise and 3 employments lost to families of those who lost their loved ones in the recruitment exercise. Governor Oshiomhole disclosed the employment offered during a meeting with the family of the deceased female victim and 11 of the 20 persons who sustained injuries during the ill-fated recruitment exercise held at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin City on Saturday, March 15, 2014. Governor decried the inability of the federal government to absorb the victims into the immigration service after President Goodluck Jonathan made the promise of employing them and their relatives. In the spirit of Valentine, the Lagos State First Lady Abimbola Fashola has called for a more concern and care to the needs of senior citizens in the country. Abimbola Fashola made this call at the annual Valentine's Day party which was organized for the elderly in the society by the Committee of Wives of Lagos State Officials at Retirement Villa, Lekki, Lagos. She further emphasized that showing concern to these senior citizens should not be restricted to Valentine's Day alone.
That we have outings for them, we have gatherings like this for them, so it just doesn't have to be just on Valentine's Day. We can always do a quarterly one for them, and you know, seeing all of them come out, they are very happy about it. It's as if, oh, you have not forgotten us. So it's a wake-up call for all of us that have all these mothers and fathers who have worked their life out for us. It's time for us to take care of them. So I want to see us do this more often as it is possible for us.
A cleric has donated food items to people living with disabilities in Kaduna to commemorate Valentine's Day. President and founder of Peace, Revival and Reconciliation Foundation, Pastor Yohana Boro, said the gesture also share love with the less privileged. He also stressed the need for government at all levels to come to the aid of such people by assisting them with food items, clothing and shelter.
Just like a woman being, you can't do without eating, you can't do without worshiping your God. So to my own understanding, pastor cannot do such thing without identifying with the community of persons with disability. I normally use such opportunity whenever I opportune to have a chat with media that they should emulate pastor. It's not just what pastor is bringing, but identifying with persons with disability, it really makes us feel comfortable.
I love the cripples because I may find myself one day in this position. 2, as the day entails as Lovers' Day, I want to show them love. To crown it all, I want to meet with them, drink, eat with them, so that they will pray together for the peace of this country. This is the cardinal thing that brought me to them. I want to show them love as a Christian, and as my neighbors, I want to show them love. And besides, coinciding with Lovers' Day, and I'm proud to identify with the day to show that love to them, and above all, to beg them. Our country is in a confusion. We don't want our country to reach a stage of anarchism. And I know God can use anybody. That is why I decided to come with them. Let's go along with them. Let's pray together. Let's ask God for peace in this country. These are the 2 cardinal things that brought me.
The historic day for the celebration of love did not go uncelebrated by fun seekers in the city of Ibadan, who rather than stay doubted on the postponement of the elections chose to have a few days with their loved ones and family. While some had it all rosy and fun-filled, some traders who specialize in the sales of gift items remarked on the low patronage in comparison with previous years. Our correspondent Omota was in the ancient city of Ibadan and finds in this report.
Getting ready to enjoy some of what it takes and the fun attached to celebrating Valentine in Ibadan here. Join me on this ride. Valentine's Day, which holds every 15 February across the world, is a day dedicated to celebrate togetherness and love. In the spirit of celebration, most people dress in red attires, which is believed to symbolize the color of love, and climax the celebration with the exchange of gifts or going out to fun places with loved ones. In the words of this resident, Valentine's celebration goes beyond a one-day event, thus encouraging others to learn to extend their hand of love to people around them.
Valentine is about showing love, about expressing love, but not just for one day. It should be what we do every day for the rest of our life.
Being a Christian, we're taught to, love ourselves like Christ loved us. So we don't have a choice than to show love every other day of our lives.
Being a day also tagged for exchange of gift items, these traders who had a lot of items on display say sales has not been encouraging.
We've bought a lot of things expecting better things, even to be better than last year. It's not encouraging.
Some are saying they have not been collecting salary, so there is no money.
On the other hand, while many have criticized the postponement of the elections, these residents say they would rather be spending time with their loved ones than voting.
This day is dedicated for this and not for election, and it's supposed to be celebrated everywhere, all over the world. So being denied in Nigeria is just like being denied love.
I would rather be having fun like this than me voting.
Maintaining the day as Day of Love is cool.
In celebration of the day, even PVC collection centers were deserted as individuals sought various fun areas to celebrate a day which thankfully to most residents was not taken over by the previously scheduled presidential election. Residents in the third largest city in Africa, popularly known as Ile Oluyole, have celebrated this year's Valentine's celebration with a lot of excitement, especially with the background of the general elections, which was postponed away from today. While they wait for the elections to hold at some later date, their expectation is that people extend love to those who are not their family members, but those who truly need love, who are the less privileged in the society. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Ibadan.
Well, a win-win for fan seekers, you must say. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and return with business, sport, and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
And in business tonight, financial experts on Saturday urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to pursue more friendly economic policies in 2015 to ensure growth and development in all sectors of the economy. Experts say some CBN tight monetary policies in 2014 were in the interest of economic growth but might affect banks' financial results and dividend declaration. The Apex Bank in January 2014 raised the cash reserve ratio on public sector deposits from 50% to 70%. Cash reserve ratio is usually applied to influence borrowing and interest rates by the changing the amount of money at banks' disposal to create loans. Experts say the monetary policy led to liquidity squeeze in the banking industry and that banks rely more on hidden charges in 2014 for survival. Friendly economic policies in 2015 say it will help the financial and other sectors of the Nigerian economy to grow, and they hope many sectors of the economy will improve after the general elections. Oil rose above $60 a barrel on Friday for the first time this year, bringing gains this week to almost 4%. Due to oversupply, the price of Brent crude collapsed from $115 in June to $45.19, the lowest in almost 6 years. Brent for April delivery was up by $1.9 at $61.18 earlier. The International Energy Agency and the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries have raised at least 200,000 barrels per day their estimates of demand for OPEC crude in 2015. The U.S. government's Energy Information Administration forecasts that OPEC will pump 140,000 barrels per day more. Now to bond markets, yields on Nigerian bonds are expected to stay flat or rise slightly next week after rising over 100 basis points due to a sell-off. The yield on the 2016 debt note rose to 16.15% on Friday from 14.9% last week. The 2022 debt note closed at 16.68% against 15.21%, while the 2024 bond note was closed at 16.70 compared with 15.2% last week. At the forex market now, in a bid to deepen the Bureau de Change segment, the CBN increased the weekly supply of dollars per operators from $15 to $30,000. However, the Naira on Friday sold against the dollar for 208 at the Bureau de Change. The Naira against the pound at the Bureau de Change traded for 314 Naira, while it sold for 235 Naira against the euro. While at the black market segment, the Naira against the dollar exchanged for 209 and traded for 310 Naira against the pound. You're also watching CoreTV Prime Time. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with sport and other stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And in sports now, Kano Pillars defeated Al Malikia 2-0 in the first leg preliminary round of 2015 CAF Champions League played in Juba on Saturday afternoon. Goals from Gambo Mohammed and Christian Obiozo were all the visitors needed to get their campaign off to a fine start in Africa's biggest club football tournament. The hosts gave their all in the first half but could not break the visitors' defense, which looked dogged, with goalkeeper Theophilos Afiloka looking brilliant in goal. Kano Pillars last won an away game in the CAF Champions League in January 2011 when they defeated Liberia's mighty Barrel 2-1 in Buchanan. The South Sudanese outfit will be hoping to overturn the 2-goals deficit when they visit Nigeria for the return leg in the fourth night. Record signing Brown Ideye scored twice as resurgent West Brom thumped West Ham to reach the FA Cup quarterfinals for the first time since 2008. The striker side footed the Baggies ahead after 20 minutes before a 25-yard shot from James Morrison made it 2-0. Ideye headed the third goal from 8 years early in the second half. West Ham substitute Morgan Amalfitano was sent off for pushing Chris Brandt in the face before Saido Berahino drove in the final goal at the near post. West Brom are still fighting against relegation in the Premier League, but manager Tony Pulis, who has lost just one in his first 8 games in charge, had made it clear he also wants a sustained cup run. And Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt says he will retire from athletics after the 2017 World Championships in London. The 28-year-old 6-time Olympic gold medalist also says that he will just focus on the 100-meter in 2017. Bolt has suggested that the Rio Games in 2016 will be his last major championship, but he now appears to have changed his mind to make a return to London. Bolt's main focus for 2015 will be the World Championships in Beijing from 22 to 30th of August, where he will be looking to add to his haul of 8 World Cup goals. And the 28-year-old also has one eye on breaking his own 100-meter world record of 9.58 seconds set in Berlin in 2009. And outside Nigeria now, fierce fighting continues in eastern Ukraine, which has left 2 people dead as before a ceasefire agreed by European leaders on Thursday is due to come into force. Mortars also fell close to the residence of the pro-Russian separatist leader Alexander Zakashenko in the insurgents' bastion. Ahead of the ceasefire set to come into effect at midday Saturday, fierce fighting was raging across the region some 65 kilometers northeast of Donetsk. 6 multiple rocket launcher systems, several tanks and a dozen 152mm cannons were seen heading towards the rebels' front line. Regular artillery's bombardments could be heard in the town of Golivka, some 20 kilometers from Debaltseve. And dozens of anti-coup activists held a demonstration in central Bangkok, handing out roses and copies of George Orwell's 1984 in a rare expression of public dissent in a nation still under strict martial law. The demonstrators, a collection of pro-democracy groups including students, made no secret of their Valentine's Day protest plans, advertising them on Facebook. In response, the authorities put up a series of barriers to stop demonstrators accessing a plaza opposite a mall in the city's downtown CM shopping district. Several of the most vocal protesters were seen being led away by police. The junta says it will hold fresh elections in early 2016 once reforms to tackle corruption and curb the power of political parties are codified in a new constitution. Some analysts and Shinawatra supporters fear those constitutional changes are designed to ensure the family is politically neutralized in any upcoming election. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. Just before we go, here is a recap of our top stories tonight. We told you that Gombe declares 24-hour curfew on state after the Nigerian military repelled Boko Haram attack in the state capital. We also told you that former President Obasanjo accuses President Jonathan of hidden agenda in the postponement of the 2015 general elections, compares him to Ivorian Laurent Gbagbo. And finally, in the spirit of Valentine, the Lagos State First Lady has called for more care for senior citizens in the country. Thank you for being part of CoreTV Primetime News tonight. On behalf of our news crew, I am Frank Omalape, wishing you a very splendid night rest. Good night.